Watch this interaction. What does it mean to you?
You know, he doesn't have to stay.
Who's he?
Becky.
Becky's a she.
If you grew up in a non-immigrant family, you probably take the interaction at face value. Evelyn misspoke, a humorous gaffe. But if you grew up with Asian immigrant parents, this three-line exchange transports you back to the thousands of times your parents have made this same mistake. If you grew up in a non-immigrant family, Evelyn's explanation is meant for you.
You know me, I always mix up he, she. In Chinese, just one word, ta, so easy.
This video is meant for you. Because I love this film and how steeped in Asian immigrant culture it is. It's the central thread that imbues every interaction between Evelyn and the other characters, the lens through which we view the entire film. But that lens can be invisible to you if you haven't lived it. So this is a small glimpse into what you may have missed. A window into our culture. I've seen no better description of culture in film than this. When promoting his film Fences, Denzel Washington is asked why the film needs a black director.
It's not color, it's culture. Steven Spielberg did Schindler's List. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas. Steven Spielberg could direct Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese probably could have done a good job with Schindler's List. But they're cultural differences. I know, you know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference.
When he talks about the hot comb hitting his hair, I can't relate. I don't know the feeling. I can't close my eyes and remember the smell. Because I haven't lived it. But the culture and everything everywhere all at once, that I have lived. The film's roots in Asian immigrant culture are on display in its very first shot, hidden in the frame. Your attention is naturally drawn to Evelyn, Waymond and Joy in the mirror, but there on the shelf, out of focus, is this inconspicuous box containing a traditional Chinese cough syrup, something that every child of Chinese immigrants will know all too well. It's called Ninjom Pepakoa, and seeing it conjures up memories of my childhood. In the same way Denzel can close his eyes and remember the smell of the hot comb hitting his hair, I can close my eyes and see my parents preparing a dark brown spoonful of pepakoa whenever I was sick. I can remember its taste, sweet and syrupy with a hint of menthol. Its presence isn't a coincidence, rather a deliberate choice to ground the film in its Asian roots, a little wink to second-generation Chinese immigrants like Joy and me. And this isn't to say you can't love this film if it doesn't represent your culture or remind you of a lived experience. There are plenty of films I love that are heavily imbued with a culture that I'm not a part of. It's to say that an already great film can become uniquely special when it's imbued with cultural elements personal to you. For me, that film is Everything Everywhere All at Once. The film's title isn't just a literal description of Evelyn and Jobu Tupaki's experience in the multiverse. It represents something many Asian immigrants and their children can relate to. It represents an expectation. For Evelyn, it's that tremendous responsibility of starting a life and family in a foreign country, one with a completely different culture. It's the guilt of leaving your parents behind, the expectation you'll still be there for them from half a world away. Evelyn is a daughter, a mother, a wife, a business owner, a chef, an accountant, a pioneer. She's everything, everywhere, all at once. And the weight of those expectations is passed onto the second generation. Evelyn, like many Asian immigrants, feels she's lived an imperfect life, growing up without the opportunities she wants her daughter to have, so she pours all her hopes and dreams into Joy. And for Joy and countless other second-generation immigrants, that becomes its own impossible expectation. You're expected to study hard, get into a good university, study medicine or law, play an instrument, piano or violin, because of course you do. You need to be a good, sensible, filial child who listens to what their parents say, who conforms to what their parents think is right, who doesn't stay out late, doesn't get tattoos, doesn't do drugs, isn't gay. You're a son, a daughter, but you're also a translator, a secretary, a vessel for your parents' hopes and dreams. And the cruel irony? For parents like Evelyn who desperately want their children to have every opportunity, the vast potential of everything, everywhere, all at once is funneled into a few life paths deemed worthy of their sacrifice. It's not everything, everywhere, all at once. It's this degree at this university, this job at this specific time, a life that's been preordained. Not out of any intentional malice, but from a deep desire to ensure that you have it better than they did.
Only do the right thing for her. For you.
Right is a tiny box invented by people who are afraid. And I know what it feels like to be trapped inside that box.
It's only when viewed through this cultural lens that the radicalness of everything everywhere all at once reveals itself. There's a reason alternate universes are called life paths, because what's a greater juxtaposition to the few specific life paths that have been pre-approved by Asian immigrant parents than Evelyn and Jobu Tapaki's experience of the infinite multiverse? And it's only when viewed through this cultural lens that the origin and motivation of Jobu Tapaki is revealed. Alpha Evelyn is a classic Asian tiger mum, pushing her child in the name of unlocking her potential, pushing to the point of shattering her mind. And what's created out of this shattering? Every Asian immigrant parent's worst nightmare. A daughter who can do everything, be everywhere, all at once. And what's scarier to an Asian immigrant mother than a child who doesn't conform to the strict rules of the world? A daughter that can't be reasoned with, who smokes, who disrespects authority, who has tattoos. Jobu's villainy is simply that she's broken out of the cultural constraints placed on her. And it leads her to this nihilistic worldview. When the weight of expectations becomes too much to bear, nothing seems to matter. It's a weight felt by so many second-generation immigrants.
Your daughter is me. Every version of Joy is Jobu Tupaki.
But is Jobu's character truly nihilistic, or is her nihilism a mask? Because
if nothing matters, then all the pain and guilt you feel for making nothing of your life goes away.
For all the talk of nihilism, what's the one thing we know about Jobu Tapaki?
All we know is she's looking for you.
She wants to find an Evelyn that can experience the multiverse in the same way she does. For Evelyn's mind to fracture, for her to feel and understand the burden of her own expectations and the pain it's caused. She doesn't want to destroy everything.
It was to destroy myself.
It's a cry for help, an exercise in empathy. Experience everything, everywhere, all at once alongside me. See the weight of the expectations you've placed upon me, how it smothers me, suffocates, burdens me, how it's made me this way, cold and uncaring, without thought for consequence. The opposite of everything you hoped for. What Jobu realizes is that achieving everything, fulfilling the surrogate dream of your parents, is not in itself a source of fulfillment. It's empty if you're unable to connect on a human level, unable to love. And through her experience in the multiverse, Evelyn comes to the same conclusion. The alternate life path that's given the most focus is movie star Evelyn. A life path that splits off when she makes the pivotal decision to leave Waymond and stay in China to pursue her dream of being an actor. A life path where she achieves all her hopes and dreams, and yet feels empty. A life path without Waymond, without their child, without joy. It's only when Evelyn feels the overwhelming suffocation of trying to be everything, everywhere, all at once, that she understands not just Jobu Tapaki, but also her own joy. And this realization allows her to finally confront her own lived experience of never being enough for her father. To finally be proud of herself, and by extension, be proud of her daughter. Evelyn and Joy discover a shared truth. What's the point of a perfect life with everything when you have nothing to live for? And it's only when you realize that you do not need to do everything, be everywhere, all at once, that the noise of the multiverse and the weight of all those cultural expectations disappears.
Evelyn, did you hear me? Sorry. What did you say?
And you find a moment of true peace. It's commonly joked about by second-generation Asian immigrants that their parents don't say "I love you." They ask if you've eaten, they cut you fruit, they tell you to put on a jacket. They say,
You are getting fat.
the US and other Western countries like Australia are low context cultures where communication is direct and there's less reliance on context. Eastern countries like China are high context cultures where words are less direct and small gestures, actions and context clues are relied upon to deliver a message. In a low context culture, I love you is an expression of love and I'm sorry is an apology. In a high context culture, a plate of sliced oranges might mean both. When Evelyn tells Joy that she's getting fat, there's context that must be read into those words. I love you, and so I'm worried about your health, and I don't want you to get fat. In Evelyn's mind, she doesn't need to say I love you. Her love is unspoken. It's in her decision to move across the world. It's in her everyday toiling away at the laundromat. It's in her cooking extra food for Becky, no matter how rudely she communicates it.
I only cook enough food for 3 people. Now I'll have to cook more.
It's in all the sacrifices she's made and continues to make. For many Asian parents, love manifests as control. Expressions of love: don't stay out too late, wear a jacket, don't move out of home, I only criticize because I care, all double as control. They want your life to be perfect. And how can it be perfect if they don't make it perfect for you? In the same way they provide food, clothes, shelter, it's their duty to provide you perfection. But they don't realise their love, instead of providing perfection, becomes a burden of perfection, one that shifts from parent to child, and inevitably goes unfulfilled. Joy, like many second-generation immigrants, feels misunderstood. Evelyn says the wrong things, thinks the wrong way. She's unyielding, rigid, incapable of seeing things from Joy's perspective, unaccepting of who she is. It's a cultural clash between a parent who's grown up in a high-context culture and a child who's grown up in a low-context one, who sees their friends get hugged and kissed, hears their friends' parents say "I love you" without hesitation. And this clash comes to life in this scene.
認得阿 Joy 啊？
刚刚好，你的飞
It may seem inconsequential, but this tiny look Joy gives Evelyn reminds me, and countless others, of this exact same experience. Reaching into the depths of your mind and childhood to try and desperately cobble together your broken Chinese into something coherent, looking at your mum for help and confirmation. I felt that discomfort, that awkwardness.
你的飞机好不好？
I've heard this exact same comment. This inability to speak Chinese, to connect with the culture of her mother and grandfather, prevents Joy from expressing her true self.
他是我的。
It's what allows Evelyn to step in and tell her version of the story. So how can this cultural clash be resolved? From Evelyn's perspective, it's simple. Joy needs to change the parts of herself that Evelyn doesn't like, fix herself so that she fits the idealised version that Evelyn sees within her. From Joy's perspective, it's equally simple. Evelyn is the one that needs to change, to stop expecting perfection, to be more accepting. One might expect that the film's solution, its lesson, is one of Evelyn learning to love. That at the pivotal moment of the film's resolution, Evelyn will finally express herself in a Western manner and say the words, "I love you." And perhaps that would be the solution in the hands of lesser writers, but the Daniels are not lesser writers, and their commitment to telling a true Asian immigrant story reveals itself here. The solution is far messier, far more real. Who is the one person we haven't spoken about yet? The bridge between Evelyn and Joy. It's Waymond. Able to express himself in the traditional high-context way, and also in the Western low-context way.
The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind.
Steadfast and unwavering in who he is, often overlooked by his wife, by his daughter, by this video. It's his presence, his optimism, his kindness that reaches Evelyn in all life paths.
Did you see that? Sorry, is that? 如果有来生，我还是会选择和你一起报税，开洗衣店。
Their solution isn't to avoid the cultural clash, or for Evelyn or Joy to fundamentally change who they are. It's to let the clash happen, and to let love and kindness, universal languages, overcome. Because a clash, if it comes from a place of love and empathy, doesn't need to be destructive. You don't have to bounce off each other and part ways angry. You can choose to clash, and hold on. The film isn't about Evelyn learning to love. It's clear to me, at least, that Evelyn has always loved Joy. It's about Evelyn learning that sometimes love isn't holding on as tightly as you can, controlling and shaping. It's about letting go, not of Joy herself, but of the idea of perfection. It's only by letting go of the idea of Joy being everything, everywhere, all at once, that Evelyn can truly understand and embrace the person that Joy is, rather than the idea of who she wants her to be. It's about letting go, and being there with open arms for when they come back. It's about the little bridges between cultures, small moments, brief interactions, where cultural differences dissipate and we're left with raw human connection. Michelle Yeoh puts it beautifully in this interview.
Evelyn Wong is a very real person. I know, like the Evelyn Wongs. I pass by these Evelyn Wongs, on the streets. I see them in aunties and friends or grandmothers.
She recognises within Evelyn something deeply personal, something specific to her culture. Evelyn is a woman who Michelle Yeoh knows, who I know, who's always been there, hidden in plain sight, now granted centre frame. just like that bottle of Ninjom Peppakoa in the very first scene. Perhaps it's serendipitous that the first part of the name, Ninjom, translates to "in memory of my mother."